Okay, today's going to be a pretty quick one. I'm just going to show you how to use scanner. Scanner is an object class that you can use in Java to get any kind of input from the user. So the same way how in Python you would put input, like you would put something like name equals input, enter your name. This way you would get the user to type their name, and that name would be stored in a variable called name. Well, in Java, it's a little bit more complicated, and it just looks very different. So I decided I'm just going to show you how to do it in person. So first of all, we're going to start by creating a class. Remember that in Java, you need to create a class, and then you need to create a main method for that class to run. Public static void main. And we're gonna cover later in this class like what all of these things mean. For now, you just need to know that these two are essential for you to create any kind of program in Java. So now we need to use the scanner class. Now, if you recall Python and PLD 101, there are library functions and there are exported functions that exist within your package for the programming for the programming language that you're using. So some of these functions that you want to use, you have to import them. For example, in Python, if you want to get input from the user, you do not have to import anything. It is a library function. But when it comes to Java, you have to import the scanner class, which is the scanner object that you use to get input from the user. To do that, all the way on the first line of your program, you need to put import. You need to specify for which language you want to import which object from which package, utility package. And you can find all of this on Google. Anyways, java.util, which means we are importing something from utility package of Java. And then we specify what we want to input. We want to input the scanner method to get input from the user. Now, to use the scanner method, you need to create a scanner object. In Java, everything works on objects. Literally everything that you do is part of a class, part of an object. Is just the way this programming language works. Remember how we talked about object-oriented programming? Well, Java is directly the right example whenever you want to learn object-oriented programming, because everything is built on using object and using methods of those objects. So to create an object of scanner, we need to put the name of the object that we want to create, which is scanner. Then this can be anything. This can be input, this can be in, this can be literally anything that you want it to be. Think of it as naming your variable. In this case, I want to use in just because it's easier to write. Now, then you need to specify that we are creating a new object from scanner. And then inside of the parentheses, we need to specify from where you want the input to be. Remember how if we want to print something in Java, we put system.out, which means that we are printing something on the screen. So it's system.out.print. This statement will print something for you on the screen. Now it's the same idea. We want to get input. So we want to get something from within the system. So the keyword is system.in. So whenever you want to get input from the keyboard, you need to put system.in in the parentheses. Another option, you can also use scanner to read from a file. Then instead of putting system.in, you would put the name of the file over here. But for now, we're not working with files. We just want to get users' input from the keyboard. So we now created our scanner object, and let's switch to this page right here. These are all of the methods that exist for us to use with our scanner object whenever we want to get a certain value from the user. Now, if we know which data type we want from the user, we can specify the direct method. If we do not know, or we don't know which data type the user will put, we can just put next. I will show you that in an example. But these are all of the different methods that we can get from the user, the data types that we can get from the user. So next Boolean will return a Boolean value, next byte, if you want a byte value, double, float, etc., etc., etc. Now let's move back to our, this right here. Okay. So now we've created this method, we need to print a prompt from the user, right? Because if we're just asking the user for an input, they will not know what to type. So enter, for example, let's do enter your name. So we're gonna ask the user to enter their names. Now, after the user types their name, we need to save it somewhere. Because if we do it this way, see, enter your name and it just stops. It just ends. We just print your name, it just ends. So we need to save user's input somewhere. Now to do that, we need to create a variable string.name. Remember that in Java, you have to specify the data type of your variable. So we're creating a variable called name. And after that, we need to use this object that we created of scanner called in with a method, any method that we want from that list that I showed you. Now, I also told you that you can use next. Next is a universal input value, so the user can type literally anything into this prompt. And even if it's a number, if it's a string, if it's a float, if it's a double, it doesn't matter. It will accept it without throwing an exception. So in that next, now let's look what's going to happen if we run it. If we run it, see, the program does not end. It just keeps running until we type something in from our keyboard. So for example, I'll type my name, Sonia, operation complete. Now the program just quits. However, don't forget that you also want to print something out for your user. Remember the 3 steps when it comes to programming. You're going to take some input, you're going to perform some sort of operation with that input, and then you're going to display that input on the screen. So in this case, we just need to display what we just received. Welcome, for example, plus name, whatever name the user inputted. Let's see what happens if we do that. See, it just types welcome Sonia with my name, and it will work for any name. For example, my last name is going to work with any, whatever you type, it's just going to work for you. Now, it's the same idea, for example, if we want to get user's age. Let's look at this. If we want to get user's age, your age is, we're just gonna, instead of this, we're gonna delete this. We're gonna create a new variable, integer variable age, and we're gonna assign it to, and we can look, if you ever forget which method you need to use, we can look over here. Let's find, we need an integer. Here's the method that's going to do it for us. Next integer reads an integer value from the user. Now let's go back. So we, instead of putting next, we're going to put in dot next integer. Now, using the same prompt, what's going to happen, or what should happen? Okay. Let's look at this. Enter your age, for example, 30. Your age is 30. So it works the same way. The only difference that we had to change is to specify which data type we want this input to be. Now, you can also do many calculations when it comes to working with your input, because now your input is stored in a variable age, and you can do whatever you want with that variable. For example, if we want to calculate how old the person is going to be in 10 years from now, right? We're just going to have to do age plus 10. And then we can type your age from your age in 10 years will be, and let's see what it does for us. Enter your age 30. See, your age in 10 years will be 40. So just look at it the same way as you look at your regular variables. Nothing is different. The only different thing when it comes to getting input from the user, you have to import this statement right here. You have to import the scanner, then you have to create the scanner object, and then you have to specify which method you want to use. So 3 main steps: import, create, and specify. All right, that's all I had for today. If you guys have any questions, you can stay on. If not, have a great day, and I'll see you on Tuesday.